Hello and good morning to everyone. Class 4 English, lesson number 4 on a beam light. Children, we are doing fourth lesson from our English textbook, lesson name on a beam light. Children, do you understand? Do you get any idea when you hear the name of when you go through the name of a lesson on a beam light? Do you get any idea? No, right, children? Okay, we'll discuss about it. So, before going into the lesson, we'll just have a brief on author's introduction. Who is the author? Author is Jennifer Berin. She is an American writer who has written several books for children and has contributed to various magazines. Okay, she is an American writer who has written several books mostly for children. So she has written in such a way in such a way the stories reflect the childhood of whatever the stories she has made. It reflects the childhoodness in that. Okay, now we'll start about the lesson. So now after looking this picture, what strikes your mind, children? Do you know who is he? Who is he? Anybody can you can just think, yeah, he is Albert Einstein. He is a physicist. So we'll learn about him. We'll understand how he was since childhood and what had he had done in his childhood journey and why is he so famous now. Okay, let's begin. On a beam light. Over 100 years ago, in a little town by a river, a baby boy was born. His parents named him Albert. Even after Albert turned 3, he hardly said a word. He just looked around with big, curious eyes. His parents worried. Little Albert was so different. Was there something wrong? But he was their baby, so they loved him no matter what. So, children, Albert, he was born in a little town by a river, and his parents named him Albert. Even after Albert turned 3, he was hardly said a word. He used not to speak much. He was not uttering words at that time. He just looked around with big, curious eyes. Do you mean curious, children? When somebody is yet to tell you something but they are not telling you, you will feel, right? You will feel that, what is that? What is this? Tell me, even I want to hear. So that is what curious. Surprisingly. His parents worried, like when he was in such a way, by looking at him, his parents almost get worried about him. But even though he was different, no matter what, his parents loved him. One day when Albert was ill, his father bought him a compass. Do you know, children, compass, it's an instrument. So a small round case with a magnetic needle in it. You can see in the picture here. He's playing. So that is what his father bought a compass one day when he was ill. And every time when Einstein used to rotate it, the needle in the compass used to stand it over the north side. So one day when Albert was ill, his father bought him a compass, a small round case with a magnetic needle inside. No matter which way Albert turned the compass, the needle always pointed on north. So after seeing this magic in that compass, Albert was amazed to know what it is. He was amazed, he was surprised. How is it possible? Even I'm turning this compass into so much directions, to so many directions. This needle why is it stopping on the north side only? What is the reason? He wanted to know. Suddenly he knew. Suddenly he knew there were mysteries in the world. So then he got to know that there is a mystery. Mystery which means secret. Mystery or which is very secretive. You don't know about it. So he wanted to know that. He wanted to understand those mysteries. Albert started asking questions. He asked so many questions that some of his teachers told him he would never amount to anything unless he learned to behave like other students. But Albert did not want to be like other students. So what happened? Albert, after knowing this everything about compass, he wanted to just research on this. He had so many questions in his mind that every time when he is in the school or wherever he is, he used to ask questioning. Every time when his questions were arises, the teachers would say, if he is in such a way that he would not get anything in his life. They asked him to be like other children, simple. But he was not that kind of boy. He was different and he didn't wanted to be the same as other kids. So he was in his own way. He used to behave the way he wanted. Children, in this page, Hadwits we have curious, magnetic, needle, compass, amazed, mysterious. Now, next page. One day, as Albert was zipping through the countryside on his bicycle, zipping means moving very fast in a particular direction. So he was going on a very fast down. He was driving his bicycle very fast. He was pedaling it very fast and he was going in a one lane. He looked up at the beams of sunlight speeding from the sun to the earth. So, children, the rays of the sunlight when it comes through the comes onto the uh, earth, and then when the sunset comes, that everything becomes different. No, it has very different phases when the sun rises and when sun sets. So he was observing that particular thing, the beams, the sun rays which we have, the sun rays, how it is going, and like whatever is happening in the sky, he was just observing, and he just wanted to know what is this happening and how is it, what is the science behind this, how can it be explained, how can it be understood. So he just wondered, he was just thinking what it would be to ride one of those beams. And in his mind, then there, Albert was racing through a space on a beam of light. So, the rays of light which comes on the street, but that comes on the earth, that is called beam. Why is it coming and going? Where is it going? And why is it setting? Everything he wanted to know. It was the most exciting thought Albert had ever had, and it filled him with all lots of questions in his mind. Then Albert began to read and study. He read about light and sound, and about gravity, the invisible force that pulls us down towards our planet and keeps the moon from floating away in the outer space. So he learned. Albert Einstein, he began to read and study about this everything. What is this mystery in this? So he learned about lights and sound, how the light reflects, how the sound follows, about the gravity, why are we standing through our legs, why are we standing straight, why can't we stand upwards down. So everything, what is gravity, just because we have gravity, if I throw a pen from my hand, it will fall down, on the floor. Why won't it go upside? So what is the reason? That's in gravity. Why is this gravity is falling downwards? Why is it not going upwards? So every thought he has. So and that invisible forces, what forces do we have? If I push a ball from my hand, so I'm putting a force which is not seen, but that is a force. So that invisible forces, why is planet and the moon is away? Why is moon floating up? Why is it in the space? Why can't it be in the earth? So he had so many questions in that way. So he just wanted to have a research on this, and he was able to recognize. He just read everything, children, everything he read. He got to know about it. He got to know the specific space related information. when albert graduated when Albert graduated from college, he wanted to teach all the things he had read about. So, when he read about everything, he was very particular, he had a great knowledge. But Albert Einstein could not find a job as a teacher. He wanted to teach that, yeah, whatever I have learned, I want to teach it to the other generation. But he was not able to become a teacher. So, he got a simple government job in the government office. He did his work so quickly that he had lot of extra time to read, think and wonder. So he was a sense of man he was so furious, like he was so fast, children. He used to do his work so quickly, and rest of the time he used to have a lot of time to think, research and to read. So every time he used to complete his work, go home, work for his whatever he was researching for. Albert began to send his new ideas. So when he started to research, he got so many ideas in his. He sent new ideas to the science magazines. They printed everything he wrote. He hoped that scientists and professors would be interested, and were they were interested. He just hoped that the scientist and professor would be interested, and guess what, they were interested. So very interested in need indeed. They asked Albert to work and teach with them. So Albert, he used to write down new ideas and send it to Science magazine. These were printed in the magazines. So whatever the things were printed in the magazine, children, that those things were very very impressive, and that impressed scientists and professors. So they called up Albert and asked him to work with them and teach with them. For the first time in his life, people started to say Albert is a genius. Since his childhood, nobody encouraged Albert. Everybody said in his schooling also, he heard that he should be like other children, not as an individual. He was different, right? But this time, in this place where he was going through various researches, then it was told Albert is a genius. Now Albert could spend all his day doing what he loved, because he loved what he was doing, and that is why he was very curious to go through the things and research about it, imagining, wondering and thinking. He was very very interested. Albert, though Albert thought about the size and the shape of the entire universe, he discovered new way to understand how long these things work. Sometimes when Albert was faced with a tricky problem, he would put it aside and play his violin. Music made Albert happy. He said it helped him think better. So sometimes when there would be something, any tricky problem, so he used to just put that problem aside and used to play a violin so that he can relax his mind. And he used to explain how the sizes, how the shape of the entire universe is made of, and how is it discovered. So everything he had researched, and he got to, and that is why he was trying to explain everything what he knew. So he was a best physicist. Now in this we have meanings, children. Zipping, which means moving very fast in a particular direction. Invisible, which cannot be seen. Force, power. Genius, a person who is very smart to be able to do great things. Tricky means difficult. And we have hard words here: zipping, wondered, gravity, invisible force, graduate, magazines, scientist, professor, genius, imagining, universe, tricky, violin. So these are the hard words. Children, write down hard words in your class notebook and go through the lesson, page 1 or page first pages. So in the next class we'll continue the other part of this lesson. Thank you children. Happy learning.